Soulmates. The year was 1866, when a boy by the name of Arthur was born. Tragically, the child died shortly after. On the 14th of September 1902, Arthur was born again to very happy parents. This time his name was different. Also taking into consideration was his body size, which, of course, would have changed. The same soul could live countless lives, but it didn't mean you'd be handsome or pretty every time. When a soul is born, it usually meant another soul would enter the world at around the same time, and that would be your soulmate. Sometimes you'd meet and other times you wouldn't, but the connection was always there. The boy born on the 14th of September 1902 met his soulmate very young while attending his first school. The boy's name was Nathan. He had a strong connection with this other girl, and they would play together, even though neither of them really understood the complexities of the situation. While climbing a tree one hot summer's day, Nathan fell and died. Before hitting the ground, he thought about her and smiled, then in his last breath said her name, Josephine. Josephine died at 72. Her husband had passed 20 years ago. As much as she loved him throughout their marriage, it felt like something was missing. They had 4 children together and, at the time of her death, 9 grandchildren. The boy she'd met as a child was long forgotten, because she was too young to remember. In the month of February 1975, the boy was born again. His parents had named him Giles. A year later, in September, his soulmate was born, this time Amal being her name. The chance of them meeting in this life was very slim. She was born in South Africa from a privileged family, and he lived in Long Stratton, a tiny village in Norfolk, England. His family weren't wealthy, but got by comfortably. At the age of 16, he went on an apprenticeship at a popular restaurant in the nearby city as a commis chef, so he could gain experience from more qualified chefs. He'd always had an interest in food and had done well at his GCSEs, so there was nothing stopping him. His first few days were difficult. The man in charge wanted everything perfect all the time. It took about 2 weeks for Giles to find his feet. After that, things improved dramatically. Even the chef congratulated him on doing a good job. His boss in the kitchen was 7 years older than him. His name was Tom. They became good friends outside of work and would hang about the many bars and clubs that the city had to offer. 5 years had now passed and Giles still worked in the same kitchen. His apprenticeship had ended some time back. He thought about leaving and going on to better things, but the popularity of the restaurant was growing and growing, and he owed a lot to this place. One day, something unexpected happened. Giles couldn't believe it. "What do you mean, you're leaving?" Tom neared his friend and co-worker, then said, "I've been offered a job somewhere else. Excellent pay as well. You've been living under my shadow far too long. I've taught you well, mate. I know it's a shock, but just think of all the opportunities out there. You need to go for it, mate. It's not just a new job for me, it's a new destination as well. Where the sun always shines." Giles was shocked and saddened at the same time, but realized it was a good opportunity for him, and what sort of mate would he be if he kicked up a fuss? "I'm happy for you, mate. I really am." Tom seemed pleased about this. "We had better get on, mate. The restaurant is going to be packed this evening." "Okay, boss," was all Giles answered, as he picked up his apron and got to work. After leaving school, Amal went to university to study for a business degree. Her parents were more than happy about this, because her father owned his own business and one day she'd run it, if she wished to, that is. They didn't believe in forcing her to do anything that she didn't want to do. After university, Amal joined the family business and enjoyed it very much. At the age of 24, Amal decided to travel the world with one of her closest friends. She'd only be gone a year, but her parents were sad to see her go. It was at this time that she met her future husband while visiting France. He worked in a very posh restaurant and was head chef. Since his mate Tom had left, he hadn't heard a thing from him. Maybe he was too busy with his new exciting life to give him a call? He knew that people moved on with their lives and didn't begrudge it one bit. He was happy for his friend. A few years had gone by, and Giles, now hitting 30 in 2 weeks, decided to have a change. In London, There were a lot of head chef jobs being advertised online. The day before his birthday, he received the news that one of the top restaurants was interested in seeing him, and the money was good as well. She looked in the mirror. The sadness that she felt was apparent. At 36, she was now a widow. Amal walked into the restaurant. It was exactly the place he described, where he used to be head chef. He also spoke fondly of a boy he trained, and how they became good friends for a little while. Her husband always regretted not staying in contact with him. A young man looked at her from behind the bar. He smiled, then asked, "How can I help you, miss?" She replied, "My late husband, who died recently, used to work here years ago. It was his first job. I've heard so much about this place, I had to visit it. By the way, there was a young man who used to work with him. I might have got this wrong, but I think his name was Giles. Does he still work here?" The man answered, "I don't know anybody by that name. Our chef at the moment is called Gavin, but I could check with the man who owns this restaurant, he might remember this person. Just give me a minute." He ushered another man to replace him behind the bar while he disappeared from view. Within a minute, the bartender reappeared with an older man by his side. The older man approached her and said, "Yes, I remember Giles, he used to work with your husband. I'm so sorry for your loss. If I remember correctly, as this was many years ago, his name was Tom, and he was one of the best chefs we had, until he trained Giles, of course. Your husband was a brilliant teacher. How can I help you, miss?" She was unsure why she was doing this really, but she'd heard about this other man so much, from her husband, she felt like that if she met him, it might bring her a bit of peace. Amal wasn't in a good place, and maybe meeting people who connected with him might make her feel closer to him in this dark chapter of her life. The last few months had been a struggle, and she wasn't coping well with the loss. "Do you know where Giles works now? I know it's a lot to ask, but any help would be much appreciated." "Thank you," she asked. "Actually I do, I'll write it down for you, but it was some years back. When he left, I was gutted. Apart from your husband. Giles was the second best chef I ever had." She arrived in London the next day and went straight to the place where he worked. Inside the restaurant she was approached by a woman in her early 20s. "How can I help you?" the woman asked politely. "Do you know a man who works here by the name of Giles?" she asked. "Doesn't ring a bell, but I'll check. Just give me a minute please." With that, she was gone. About 3 minutes later, the woman appeared from the kitchen area, then made her way over. "I'm afraid there was a man with that name who worked here as head chef, but left a year and a half ago. I'm so sorry about that." Amal felt disappointed. "Is there any chance you might still have his home address or something? I know it's a lot to ask, but it'd be very helpful to me." The woman looked uncomfortably at her. "I'm afraid we're not allowed to give out that sort of information. I hope you understand, but I'll be more than happy to ask someone here, to see if they know where he works now. Personally, I can't see a problem with that." Some moments later, she appeared holding a piece of paper. "I've written down where you can find him, it's only a few streets away in another restaurant. Good luck." Amal took the paper. "Thank you so much." After catching a bus, she got off close to where this other place was, then walked the rest of the way. 5 minutes later, she stood in front of the big building and nervously entered. At that moment, she realized maybe this wasn't a good idea after all. Inside the restaurant, Amal headed for the bar and waited patiently. Her heart raced. What was up with her? A few meters away, a man appeared dressed in a suit. He looked very smart. The moment their eyes met across the crowded room, she felt something she'd never felt before. It was hard to explain. The man came over and introduced himself. "Hello, my name's Giles and I own this restaurant. How may I help you?" They looked into each other's eyes, and then something magical happened. The end.